All right, so lesson 4-4 is combine operations with linear expressions. Now, in this lesson, you will combine the lessons involving adding and subtracting linear expressions, as well as a distributive property that we've covered to simplify linear expressions. And guess what? Yay! You don't have any vocabulary that you need to write down. So, in this one, all you have to do is write down all of the steps for all of the examples, okay? So for example 1, we're going to simplify this expression. Now, notice you'll still see there's distributive property, and there's like terms, and there's parentheses, so we're going to use everything that we learned in lesson 4-1 to 4-3, okay? So for example 1, we have a -4 times a quantity, 5x minus 8, plus 36x. So we're going to use our distributive property and see what we get. So we have -4 times 5x, negative times a positive, that's a negative. So this is going to be a negative 20x. And then a -4 times a -8, that gives me a positive 32. And then bring down the plus 36x. Okay? Now we're going to use our shapes to identify our like terms. Okay? Because now there's no parentheses, now we have to combine our like terms. So we've got some x terms, and we have a constant. Okay? So when we put together a -20x plus 36x, that's going to give us a positive, because the bigger number is 36, so that's going to be a positive 16x. And then we don't have to add the 32 to anything, we just bring it down. So plus 32, and that is your final answer. And that's it. So go ahead and press pause, write this down, press pause, do this one on your own, and then press play again to follow along, okay? So we're going to use our distributive property to distribute that -3 throughout the parentheses. So -3 times a positive 4x gives us a -12x. And then a -3 times a -9, that's a positive 27. And then we're going to bring down that plus 30x. So parentheses gone. Now I combine my like terms. So we're going to use our shapes to identify the like terms. So we've got some x terms, and we have our constants. So now we can combine our like terms. So -12x plus 30x, that's going to be a positive, and we subtract the digits, take the sign of the higher number. So that's going to be a positive 18x, and then bring down the positive 27. And that is your final answer. All right, example 2, you knew I was going to do it. We got fractions. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to use the distributive property. Okay, so we are distributing a -1/4 throughout the parentheses. Okay, and I'm going to do some scratch work on the side if I need to. Okay, so we've got, we're going to bring down this 5/12a, and now we distribute. So this is going to be a -1/4 times a positive 2/3 a. Well, you know 1 times 2 is 2, And 4 times 3 is 12. Oh, look at that. Common denominator already. So here, this is going to give us a negative 2 twelfths A. Okay? And then a negative 1/4 times a negative 8. Negative times a negative is going to be a positive. Now let me go over here to show you this. So this is 1/4 times 8 over 1. You see? This is going to be 8/4, which is equal to 2. So this negative 1/4 times a negative 8 is going to be a positive 2. You could also simplify before you multiply over here. See? 1 and 2. That would give you 2 over 1, which is equal to 2. Okay? So now I can combine my like terms. So here are my variable terms. Those are the A terms. And here are my constants. So now we've got 5/12 minus 2/12, which gives us 3/12. Don't forget your variable, A, plus 2. Is that my final answer? No, no, it's not, because we can simplify 3/12. You see that? So we can divide both of those by 3. So this is going to be 1/4 A plus 2. And now that is our final answer. All right, let's go ahead and try this one on your own. Go ahead and press pause, do your work, and then press play again to see if we got it right. So we are going to distribute this 1/3 throughout the parentheses. Okay? So we've got 1/3 times 6. 1/3 times 6, that's 1/3 of 6. That's going to give me 2. So this is going to be a 2x. Okay, if you need to see it on the side, here it is right here. So we've got 1/3 times 6 over 1. We can simplify before we multiply. And then that's going to give us 2 over 1, which is 2, just like that. So that's going to be 2x. And then we have 1/3 times 3/4. This one I'm going to show you on the side too. So 1/3 times 3/4. Now on this one, look at that. The 3's simplify to 1's, and that's going to give us 1/4. So over here, this is going to give us a negative 1/4 plus 5x. So now we want to use our shapes to identify our like terms. So here are my variable terms, and there's my constant. So 2x plus 5x is 7x, and then we're just going to bring down minus 1/4. And that is your final answer. So fun. All right, example 3 has 2 sets of parentheses. That's not a big deal, because all we have to do is use our distributive property to get rid of them, okay? Now, this is bringing everything together, okay? So let's start with distributing. We're distributing a negative 2/5 here, and on the second expression, we're distributing a positive 1, okay? So, negative 2/5 times 25. I want to do that on the side. 2/5 times 25 over 1. Look, you can simplify before you multiply. So this is going to be 25 divided by 5 is 1, and 25 divided by 5 is 5. So this is going to be 10 over 1, which is equal to 10. So negative 2/5 times a positive 25x gives me a negative 10. So that's going to be a negative 10x. Okay? So notice that my scratch work is far, far away from my actual work. Okay? Make sure you separate them. And now we've got a negative 2/5 times a negative 45. Negative times a negative is a positive. And now let me do my scratch paper work over here on the side. So we have 2/5 times 45 over 1. Simplify before we multiply. That's 1 and 9, right? Yep. And then that's going to give us 18 over 1. So that is going to be a positive 18. So that's a negative 2/5 times a negative 45. That gives me positive 18. Okay? Now, what can I do when I'm distributing a positive 1? What can I do when I'm distributing a positive 1? You can just take away the parentheses, right? So here, this is going to give me a positive 16x minus 6. So now I have no more parentheses, but now it's time to combine my like terms. So here are my x terms, my variable terms, and here are my constants. All right, so now we combine our like terms. So negative 10x plus 6x gives me 6x, positive. And then positive 18 minus 6 gives me a positive 12. And that is your final answer. All right, so why don't you press pause and do the extra example on your own, and then press play again to make sure you got it right, okay? All right, so here we have 2/3 times the quantity, 27x minus 45, minus the quantity, 4x minus 9. So on this one, we need to use our distributive property. So on the first expression, we're distributing a 2/3. And on the second expression, we're distributing a negative 1. Okay? So we're going to use our distributive property. For this one, we cannot just take away the parentheses. We have to do the math, okay? So 2/3 times 27x. Let me do some scratch paper work over here. So 2/3 times 27 over 1. So simplify before I multiply. That's 1, and that's 9. When I multiply straight across, that gives me 18 over 1. So 2/3 times 27x gives me 18x. And now we have 2/3 times a negative 45. That's a positive times a negative, so that's going to be a negative. Let me just go ahead and write that down right now. That's going to be a negative. I'm going to do my scratch paper work over here. We've got 2/3 times 45 over 1. And then simplify. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 45 divided by 3 is 15. And then when we multiply straight across, that gives us 30 over 1. So 2/3 times 45 is equal to 30. So this is minus 30, okay? And now we have a negative 1 times a positive 4x, that's negative 4x. And then negative 1 times negative 9, that's positive 9. So now, no more parentheses. And now we're going to combine our like terms, or identify our like terms. So here are the variable terms in green, and my constant terms in blue. It helps to use colors and shapes, okay guys? So now we can combine our like terms. So 18x minus 4x is going to give us 14x. All right, so now we have a negative 30 plus 9. So different signs, subtract the digits, take the sign of the bigger digit. So that's going to be a negative because the 30 is bigger. And 30 minus 9 is 21. And that is your final answer.